Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 12th. I just did a whole class and completely forgot that I was not recording, which is sad, I think. So I wanted to re-record what's going on today, and I'll just go through it quickly for all of you who missed class this morning. So today is Wednesday. I guess the big thing you need to know is that at 10 o'clock, instead of me teaching the math class, our vice principal is going to teach the math class because I have a meeting I have to go to. So Ms. Tullis will be here to teach the math class at 10 o'clock. And we will not be meeting with the Supergirl readers today because I'm not going to be here. So you guys need to go onto your document. If you go on the calendar today and click on it, you can go to that document and it will tell you what pages to read to, but please read an additional 2 chapters and then go onto that Google Doc and fill in. Right now I have some things written next to your name. You need to go read that. So if you can't find it, look on the calendar for that assignment. It'll either be on today or I'll move it 2 days ahead to your next day. I probably won't move it till the end of the day. As far as news today, I shared in the Google Doc a link to sign up for pictures. So pictures are going to be on the 17th. And if you want to go in and get your picture taken so that you'll have school pictures for your 5th grade year, your last year of grade school, you can do that at Flex. If you go to the Flex website, you can find a link there to sign up for pictures, or Flex will be sending a message home to your parents today about pictures. The other thing is conferences. If you haven't signed up for a conference yet, you need to go onto your calendar and click on the little thing underneath the calendar that says find appointment and sign up for a conference time. If you don't sign up for a conference time, I will sign you up for one of the open conference times and send you an email about it. Because I have to sign everyone up for conferences. If you decide you don't want to come to conferences, then you can tell me that. But I would really love to meet all your families. And I usually just have nice things to say at conferences. Okay, remember to do your dream box today. Remember to go on to language arts. And today your lesson is 2.05. It's a pretty long lesson, but you don't have to submit anything, like no graphic organizer or anything. So you're just reading through the lesson, paying attention to the lesson. And then at the end, there's a quiz. Make sure you read the whole story. I think the story is on page 5 or 6. Make sure you read that whole story. At 12:20, we'll go over pages I think it's 7, 8, and 9, which are writing pages, teaching you how to do SAID writing, which you already know, and then also working on our conclusion to our story. So you need to be getting to the very end of your story by now. Tomorrow's your last day to work on that story in class. So really need people to be doing their stories. I sent out messages to some of you yesterday reminding you that you need to send me something telling me what's going on with your story, whether you have it written somewhere, whether you're having trouble submitting it or sharing it. But please send me an email and let me know what's happening. We also have an open house coming up in November. That's going to be a time when you can come into Flex and look at the building. We're also working on a 3rd through 5th grade in-person event where you're going to be able to come in and do some different circuits like art, chill art, and hanging out, or checking out the library and seeing where you can check out books, or playing some games, or doing some engineering challenges. So that'll be fun. That's going to be probably the first week of November. So that's kind of all the news that I had to go through. And that lesson 2.05, let me just share that with you quickly. If you go here and you go to language arts and you go into your modules and you go down to 2.05, here it is. So you should have submitted your chart yesterday for 2.04. And then today we're working on historical text. Tomorrow we'll submit this quiz. So the mound builders, it's a really interesting story that I actually didn't know that much about. It's pretty interesting. So here we are in Mississippi, and we're talking about the Natchez Trace Pathway and these cool mounds that were these archaeological things that you could probably go visit. So here we have a 4-page story, tells you what you're going to be learning. There's 12 pages to this lesson. The first page is cursive writing. The next page is a reading thing, reading about these Natchez lines, looking at how to read a timeline and learn about when things were happening. And then the scoop on historical text. This is a lesson on how to read historical text and what different kinds of informative text types there are: scientific, historical, technical. There's probably a lot more than that. Then it talks about explicit versus implicit. This really is a repeat of the same idea we had when we were talking about information that the author gives you and just says, this is it, that you can find in the text, and information that the author thinks you will understand without having to say it. So we call that inference when you have to guess it, or implicit. It means that the author is implying it, but not stating it directly. So in other words, if I said to you, the water was very cold, that is explicit. If I said to you, I jumped into the water and jumped out immediately, freezing, you would know the water was cold without me having to say it. That's implicit. I'm implying that the water was very cold, okay? That's important to know how to look for both of those kinds of information. Here's different ways that informational texts are organized. Chronological order means in order of time, starting with and then first, second, next, after, okay? And we're talking about, timelines and the way historical texts are told. Here's a chart that you can look at relationships and interactions between texts. And then it goes on to what's the relationship. Now, this is not the way you go through a lesson, right? You need to read everything. I'm going through quickly because I don't want to take the time right now to bog you down. You need to read this yourself. It says, read the excerpt from the text, The Mound Builders. While you're reading, think about this. So here is a little piece of the big story you have for this chapter. And it talks about these cool mounds. They don't look like much, but they're built by the Native Americans long ago. So very interesting. And here's some more information on it. And then here's the big story. Look at all the pages of the story. Make sure you listen to or read this story so that you'll be ready for the quiz tomorrow. If you don't read it, you're going to have a hard time scoring on the quiz. Then on page 8, actually, it starts with Writer's Workshop. This is the 5 senses. This is bringing to life so that you can see it, hear it, touch it, smell it, taste it, and know what it felt like to be in the story. You guys are really working hard on that. Here's some great sensory details anchor chart that help you come up with cool words that you can put in your story. Why don't you try and pull a couple of these words and stick it in your story so that you're very specific. And Conquering the Conclusion we'll be doing later today. Your exit card is to have somebody read your story. See if you can see it, hear it, taste it, feel it like a movie. And then here it says, what did I learn? And it reviews everything you did this chapter. And tomorrow you will submit this quiz, the Mound Builders quiz. Okay, and that's it for today's lesson in language arts. I will see you at 12:20 for writing. Remember, the principal will be here at 10 o'clock for the math lesson. Bye.